Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Well, not really dawn yet, but theoretically it could be, but it's nighttime actually. This is a bourbon whiskey taste challenge, so here we go. This is Jim Beam Black, and I've been bringing this one into the challenges the past week. This is the Black Sour Mash, 8-year age, introduced in 1992, but replaced in 2015 by the current Jim Beam Black Extra Age, which is not labeled as sour mash bourbon. Okay, why did they replace it? I don't know. Probably to save money. I paid $32.99 for this bottle at International Market. The price has jumped up to $34.99. You can still get the current Jim Beam Black handle, big glass bottle with the handle, at Total Wine. Last time I checked, $32.99. So that's your best bet. Been out of production for 8 years, but you can still find it, as evidenced by the fact that I found it and I saw a bunch of it not yesterday, but last week at International Market. Now the competitor is this oddity, if you ever wanted to find an oddity. This is Royal Kentucky. And my friend David said, I see what they're doing. They're putting a crown Royal. I said, well, no one's going to fall for that. But it does have the royal blue and a crown, because it makes no sense, because Kentucky has no king. Kentucky has a governor. But look what it says. Kentucky, well, you may not be able to read that. It's kind of hard to read it. Kentucky bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. Oh, boy. Kentucky bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. Bottled by Kentucky Distilling Company. Bardstown, Kentucky. Now you say, I never heard of that company. Yeah, neither has anybody else, because it's Heaven Hill. And I put the link below to the listing. They don't have a web page for it or anything. No descriptions, just sold in various bottle sizes. And the way they get around Kentucky whiskey, no bourbon is allowed to have flavoring added or coloring. So the way they get around that, they list it as Royal Spirit Blend DSS, Distilled Spirit Specialty. So if you challenge them on it and say, wait, I thought bourbon can't have flavoring added, they'd say, oh yeah, it can't. No way. This is a distilled spirit specialty. But it doesn't say that anywhere on the bottle, but they have it listed as that, probably registered with the government as that. So it's funny, comical. I couldn't find a trademark on it. Never could find out when it was introduced. But then I looked at the bottle carefully one day, and I realized there is no trademark. It's not trademark. They didn't even bother to get the trademark. It says finest quality. So they didn't even want to pay the money to register it with the trademark office. I guess they figured nobody is going to try to steal this trademark, and they're probably right. So I don't know how long it's been around, and I don't think anybody knows. I mean, maybe Heaven Hill's got that on file somewhere. If they ever kept a file on it. Now it doesn't say coloring added, and Heaven Hill usually will tell you if it's got coloring. So that probably is the natural color, and there's no age statement. Got to put that in the notes, which means it's aged at least 4 years. Let me put that no age statement. No age statement. I bought this at Ralston Liquors in Houston, Texas. It was $7.99. I was not looking for this at all. I was just, browsing just to see the liquor store, and it was nice. People were very friendly, and the owners, I don't know if they were the owners. There were 2 women working there. They might have just been employees, but I assume they were the owners. But like I say, I could be wrong. But I saw it on the shelf. They had the big bottles and this little, the regular bottle, and it was $7.99. I said, well, for $7.99, there's no risk. probably not going to be much to it, but I'm not putting out a lot for it. So I like these peculiar items anyway. I mean, I don't like them necessarily to drink. Like, oh, I like it. It's so good. I just like them because they're peculiar, I figure. And I was trying to look up video reviews. Nobody ever did a video review. Okay, so until I tackled it. I mean, it seemed like it would be horrible, but it isn't. It's not horrible. Is it probably some Heaven Hill reject bourbon that did not meet the standard for like their mainline brands? Like, for instance, Heaven Hill, they have the white label, the gold label, black label, and all of that. Well, yeah, it's probably something like that. They were like, oh no, tweak it with flavoring and put it on the bottom shelf and somebody will buy it. Yeah, somebody like me. And they got it listed at Specs, the big Texas liquor chain. So it is what it is. Let's not even worry about it. All right, so Jim Beam, they used to have a website listing for this, but of course it's discontinued, so you're not gonna find. You might find something on that Wayback Machine, the archived websites that they have. Like, the people will take images of it and like save it, so you could. That's kind of helpful, but the bottle pretty much tells you what it is. 86 proof, age 8 years, Kentucky sour mash bourbon, straight bourbon whiskey. Straight whiskey, got no color and no flavoring added. That's the way it should be, but that's not always the way it is. So here it is. Here's this thing. Do we get these kinds in Louisiana? Yeah, we get one from Sazerac, 10 high. Same thing. It says Kentucky. Or I think 10 high just says bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. So it could be from different states. But this says Kentucky. So if it says that on the bottle, if you read your regulations, it must all be from Kentucky. It doesn't say distilled by Heaven Hill. It only says bottled by that alias company, Kentucky Distilling Company. So could it be something they bought from someone on auction, some cheap bourbon? Yeah, it could be. But we know it's at least 4 years old. It's at least 4 years old. I tried their Tom Sims 4-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon. Cheap. Well, cheap, not super cheap. It was $11.99, but on sale. But yeah, that was all right. It was all right. All right. Copper. This one is amber. 4-year aged. Yeah, I can believe that's the regular color. The natural color. What would be the purpose of adding flavoring? I think you know as well as I do that the purpose would be almost assuredly to mask something. And mask something not so nice. But tell you what, though, that 10 high that Sazerac sells with the eagle on it. If you see the eagle, that's the one with the flavor. If you might find a new bottle with the Hiram Walker guy on it with his foot his one knee cocked up, resting on a barrel. Got 1 foot on a barrel. That might still be around. My impression is that it's been discontinued, or as they say, discode, because I never see it. I've got a few leftover bottles. But if I go to Walmart, Mathern's, Total Wine & More, they've all got the 10 high, and it's always well stocked, which is telling me it's a good seller because you just see, just keep it going. Are people buying it for erudite reasons, like to experience a fine bourbon? No, obviously not. They're just buying it because they want something cheap for like their Christmas party that they had yesterday. Because they know how some people are going to come over and want to guzzle everything. If you put out Blanton's, they're going to blow through that in 1 hour. And you say, they didn't pay $65. They brought Evan Williams over here, or Ezra Brooks. So I'll fix them up. I'll let them drink 10 high, and they'll go through that. But then you don't care because you paid $15.99 for the handle, So that's the purpose. And I guess the Royal Blend, the Royal Kentucky bourbon with natural flavor, which almost is certainly a blend of different cast off bourbons. But yeah, you mean you get the handle a lot cheaper per ounce. It'll come out to probably like $5.99 a bottle, but I didn't want a handle, so I bought the regular. Okay. Jim Beam is a little bit more elevated product, and it's not exactly the top of the heap, but you know it does win awards. If you look at the Jim Beam website, they won a lot of awards with the SIP Awards, which have been around about 8 years. No, 13 years. The SIP Awards is like Monday Selection in Belgium. You got to pay. Well, you got to pay to enter any of these contests, and I'm doing that for a favor to you. But you know, you submit a product, and they got people. And the SIP Awards is interesting because they use consumers, just people like me and you that buy liquor. You know, not experts at SIP Awards. Now, Monday Selection, you have to be an expert, like certified sommelier and all that. So, the SIP Awards, they were saying we're not looking for any new people right now. Right now, they said, but you could sign up and maybe they'll call you if they need some. I wouldn't have any interest in doing that, but they just review each product. Like they'll say, okay, I don't think they tell them what it is. They just say, here's a bourbon, you know, unmarked. They take notes. They were showing on the website, take notes, give a score. And Jim Beam Extra, the one they have now, the black, this year, I'm pretty sure 2023, I was checking the results. It won double gold. Now, I'm sure after they give the score and they give their final evaluation, then they'll say, oh, by the way, you were scoring Jim Beam Black. Jim Beam Black. Oh, never dreamed I would get a double gold. So you see, you wouldn't want to show them the label because what's going to happen? They're going to have in their mind, oh, that's a cheap bourbon. They don't want them to have that in their mind. They don't want them to know if it's, you know, premier, mid-range, lower level, low tier, or cut rate. But you don't see any cut rate products in their competition because no one's going to send that in. You know what I'm saying? Like Heaven Hill might send some products, like they have Elijah Craig, barrel proof, Elijah Craig, small batch and all. They're not going to waste time and effort to send this in to the competition because they know what they have. They know what it is. Okay. But that's cool. But it still might be a choice of the consumer because it's on the shelf and people buy it. All right. Now we're going to give the evaluation. And let's hope I can tell them apart because if I can't, I'll be too ashamed. I'll be too ashamed. They even had a category for blended whiskey. You know, that those can be really cheap. American blended whiskey. But none of those cheapos won. They probably weren't even entered. It was just, you know, much better quality stuff like TX and I think that's a big one, Tin Cup, Rebecca Creek, things like that. They're going to cost as much as bourbon. They're going to cost as much or more than some bourbons. Yeah. I never had any of them, so I can't really comment. I've had the lower tier. This is just kind of basic, but you know, it's just like sweet corn and sugar water and honeysuckle nectar. The same things that you always smell, honestly. So I don't know what that is by smelling it. I don't know. Okay, now this has a much fuller nose, more pronounced, fuller, more charred oak, just more of everything. So I'm thinking that's got to be the black, the Jim Beam Black 8-year age, produced 1992 to 2015. Can't say for sure. Now, do either one of these have offensive or off-putting aromas? No, they don't. It's just a level. It's just a situation of more and not too much. You know, it's just that what you smell here is good. It's just not much of it, and that's probably because it's the base model, the base of the base. Okay. Look, all these liquor companies put products on the shelves that are like this, these kind of products. Why? Well, either that or they're auctioning it off. They're not dumping it down the drain. And they usually put them out there under an alias name because they don't really want, Brown Foreman doesn't really want their Jack Daniels and Old Forester to be associated with, like Gully Washer bourbon with natural flavor, or Corn Delight or whatever these cheap names are. You see, but they'll be out there. They're just gonna try to not be associated with it, even though they are associated with it by the fact that they make it. Yeah, same story here. It's got that vanilla tweak. Do I know they're adding vanilla? I certainly don't. How would I know that? They're not going to tell you what the natural flavors are. I don't know. It could be orange peels. It does have a little orange peel thing going on with it. They could let it soak in. They could dump a bunch of orange peels in there, let it soak for a week, strain it out. Highly filtered, super highly filtered. And anyway, it says natural flavors, plural. I have other ones that say natural flavor, singular, like one flavor added. And those are usually from Sazerac, and it tastes like vanilla. A man from Buffalo Trace told me on the phone when I called him. He said, "I think they're using vanilla." He said, "But I don't know." He said, "That's just what I've tasted them. That's what it tastes like to me." No. He said, "I work for the company, and I don't know." He said, "That's behind a wall. You're not gonna tell anybody." Yeah, this is much more pronounced. You get a heavy charred oak. You get that almost creme brulee. You get the sweet corn. You get almost like roasted corn. You could tell it's aged longer. It's smoother. I'm calling it. This is Jim Beam Black. It's got to be. If I'm wrong here, I don't know what to do now, but it's got to be. And it is. Okay, so not much of a competition, not much of a challenge, but interesting nonetheless. Kyle says the higher the score, the more they charge. Yeah, and that's why they want to win double gold. If they say we win double gold, you might see the price start to inch up. And how you justify that price increase? Hey, well, we won double gold. This product won double gold at the SIP Awards. This is no joke. They love it. I'm not saying they're going to raise the price, but I remember Old Milwaukee. Old Milwaukee beer used to be so cheap. You could get a 12 pack for $3.99 or less. But it was like $3.99. And then in 1986, if you remember, they had a national Super Bowl commercial. I think they went bankrupt paying for that commercial. But Stroh's put that commercial on TV. You live in your life like it's one big commercial. And they showed the can, just the can, they didn't even show the bottle. And they said, "Hello, Herbie." And "Hello, Max Walt and the Russian Federation." And they said, "Look, Old Milwaukee won gold at the Great American Beer Festival." And it did win gold. It didn't win best in show. It won gold for best American regular lager, beer. And this guy I used to teach school with, French guy, he taught French. He was angry. He said, "Look, every time," he said, "I used to buy Old Milwaukee all the time. I'll drink that every day because it was inexpensive and he liked the flavor." He said, "But then once it won gold, they jacked the price way up. So you had to find something else to drink." I said, "Yeah, but the sales didn't go up. That didn't do them any good. People watching the Super Bowl, they could care less if Old Milwaukee won gold. They weren't running out to buy it." I was impressed. I said, "Oh, look at Stroh's," but they still couldn't get out of the pit, of bad sales and declining market share and all that. So they sold out to Pabst 3 years later. Sold the whole company, lock, stock, and barrel to Pabst. And you know what Pabst does? Immediately start shutting down all their breweries. "How was your Christmas?" says Herbie. "Oh, it's very nice. It's very nice." So if you buy Jim Beam Black, it's going to cost you at least twice as much. And it's going to be twice as good. I can't comment on the current Jim Beam Black, okay? I can't really comment because I never tasted it in my life. But I'm assuming based on this that it's probably similar, although it's not sour mash, which some people would like that and some people wouldn't. But just you would think, it's going to be a lot more elevated. Now, would regular Jim Beam triumph significantly over the Royal? Oh, I doubt that, because regular Jim Beam is kind of on the bland level like this. Not that one, the Royal. And also, it's not twice as much either. But, I mean, it probably would be better. Okay, so final judgment. The Jim Beam Black 8-year age is clearly much better. And you would not confuse the two. I don't see how you would. But on the other hand, I can't say that Royal is bad, because it's not bad. If you say I want a full bourbon with basically nothing special about it, that tastes very ordinary, but it doesn't have any bad flavors, and I want it cheap, and that's why I'm buying it. Yeah, it would be perfect for that, no problem, and you'd probably be happy. That's it. Simple, cut and dry. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to start delving into the Sazerac products. I believe this is the last of the Heaven Hills that I have unopened. Now, I have some Heaven Hill unopened, but I'm going to crack them open down the road, like the Heaven Hill Gold label. I can't find out any information on the Heaven Hill Gold. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, Sour Mash, I believe. I can't even find it on their website. Got me nervous, But so I'm trying to pin down what is the gold, but it could be years before I get to it. But that's another story for another day. Tomorrow, probably going to be bringing in from 1934. I believe it was 1934 when it went on sale. Went onto the market. I can double check that though. It's going to be a product called 10 High. I was talking about 10 High earlier in this video. 10 High has gone through many changes over the years. It was a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Then it got relegated to just a bourbon whiskey, not straight. And that's for a number of reasons, variables. And then now it's just bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. Still popular. So is it going to beat Jim Beam Black? No way. But now some other Sazerac products that I have could certainly give it a run for its money, like Ancient Age 10-star 90 proof, the 90 proof version of Ancient Age 10-star. That could be a contest there. And then Jethro T. Boots, Kentucky Straight Sour Mash Bourbon Whiskey from CVS Pharmacy, produced by Buffalo Trace. Yeah, that could be a contest there. But we'll find out. Time will tell. Well, thanks for watching, and y'all have a good second day of Christmas. Today is the second day of Christmas.